panoramic lifestyle, a vision moves in all directions.
All right, hello and welcome back to Dopamine. We are here once again at the Delicious Factory here in Tempe. I am here once again with Paula Garrett. She has been an amazing guest and been so patient and open with me. So I really appreciate it, seriously. I told her that the reason why I wanted to bring her on is because the theme of this episode, even though I haven't made it too vocal, but it was just how people use fitness and wellness to get over life challenges. I have a couple of people where I know, and me as well, the reason why I teach in a sense is not only to give back and to shed light on people's day, but I know I'm using it as a stress relief, you know. So I want to just go ahead and talk with you. I know that you touched on you being diagnosed with lupus in 2000. How has the fitness journey helped you get through, having this diagnosis? Has it had any challenges for you or?
Yeah, being diagnosed with lupus was very challenging. I come from a very religious background, family. They're all believers, and my father's a pastor. 3 of my great uncles were pastors, ministers, and so that's all I knew. From the time I was 3, I've been singing, and so going to church and being involved somehow in the church, whether it be in the choir, usher work, we just did some of everything. As a PK, you do anything wherever they need you to be, so I was challenged because, and then back then, you're not supposed to ask God why.
Oh, yeah, you just do.
You just do. But I was like, why? Why? Surgery after hospitalization, after tubes and losing weight, hair, all of that stuff. I'm like, why, God? Why am I doing this? I'm not, what's going on? What have I done that was ever so bad to make me go through this? And there was a time where I was like, I'm not going back to church. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not going to sing anymore. My brother, who I was very close to, he passed away. And it just seemed like it just broke.
Yeah.
And that was like that broke the camel's back. That was the straw. And so I'm like, I'm done. You gave me lupus. You took my brother. You took my uncle. I'm done. And it took me moving here to Arizona and getting connected with a group, a church actually, First New Life, and my pastor. And some of the things that he was saying was confirmation of the things that my father had always taught me, but I just didn't want to hear. So the medications, the surgeries, and so then the fitness journey. And then I thought, okay, I might could survive this.
Yeah.
And then my cousin, who I was extremely close to, she passed away of breast cancer, and she had it several times. And so I was just completely lost.
Yeah, you're playing a balancing act in a sense. That's why I know when we talked in the car, we were on our way to getting murdered for the boot camp. And you touched on that, and that's when I realized that you have this background, this spiritual background, and it's something that a lot of people are dealing with, just in communities in general. I actually have someone else that's going to come on because you guys it's not just 1 or 2 of you guys. It's I'm sure a bunch of people that are trying to balance this spiritual journey with the fitness as well. So I love that you are touching on that because a lot of people think that it's wrong for you to question, sometimes you have to question, but I think with you, how I love that you talked about you having those challenges, but now look at you, you know what I mean? You're still active, you're still out there participating in the church. So what is something that what's some advice that you would give to someone that's dealing with a challenge, whether it's lupus, breast cancer, anything, and they're still trying to maintain that sense of belief, and then stay healthy? What's some advice you would give them to keep going?
My advice would be to communicate with God.
Okay.
It was a relationship that I had with God. I have found out at that point that I didn't really have a relationship with God. I had a relationship with my parents, with my cousins, with other members of the church that had a relationship with God. And I was going through them to get to Him. When I needed to learn how to talk to Him for myself. I needed to have that connection, that relationship with Him. And really just talk to Him like I'm talking to you, like, look, God, this is not working for me. We're going to have to come to help me. And then once you do that, shut up and let Him talk back to you. He may not talk right then. He may not talk even a week from now. And it may not be Him. He may send someone else to you to talk to you, but you need to be able to be open and be receptive to what he says, because it might not be anything that you even want to hear.
Exactly.
But it's his answer to the question that you asked him. And then sometimes he's not going to answer you. You may have to wait. It took me years to get even what I thought was a remote answer to my brother
Okay.
passing away. And I was like, why are you doing this? He's been gone since '07.
Okay.
And it took up until a few years ago for me to get somewhat of an answer. But his life and what he lived, his legacy, wasn't for him, it was for me. His journey. He left something, and I need to be able to pick up that mantle. He had a life, and he lived it. But it was an example to others that even though all the things you've gone through and that you've done, God still loves you.
Exactly.
He hasn't left you. He's still there even in the darkest moments. And so for me, that's what I had to realize. And then realize that this is my life. My life isn't my father's, who's a pastor. And even though I'm his child, we're different people.
Oh, yeah.
It's not my mother.
Everyone has their own journey.
She's a first lady, but that's not my path. My path is my path. And they taught me very well. They taught me based on what they knew, and they taught me based on the Bible. And then from that, I had to get my own relationship with God and talk to him and live with that. But then also surround yourself with like-minded people.
I'm glad you said that.
Because if you don't, it's a tragedy.
Yep.
I don't want to surround myself with people who are whining and crying about woe is me and this illness and that kind of illness. It's okay to have support groups, but sometimes support groups don't necessarily support.
Yep.
And so what I found is in the fitness community and in some of my church family, because that's what I call my family, my forever family is what we call each other, connecting myself with them, talking to them, hanging out with them, being able to open yourself up to share. And I hadn't always done that. I always felt like, what goes on in the home stays in the home kind of theory. But I found out that can be a very lonely existence, and you're by yourself.
You got to open up.
Right, and you're by yourself, all alone, going through this all alone, and so it gets to you. So when I started working out more, I started incorporating what I needed, along with my communication with God, my forever family, my biological family, and that created a whole.
See, and that's what I know, though, you touched on, too, while we were riding in the car. This was a very deep car ride, by the way.
It was.
While we were riding in the car, you said that fitness helped you to learn who you were as a person. It helped shape who you are.
It did.
I think that people don't understand that when it comes to fitness, it's not just getting in the gym all the time. It's about wellness, physical and mental. And for you to speak on that, I think it's important to know that you got to know who you are as a person. You didn't compare it to who the other person was doing, what the other person was doing. You actually believed in yourself.
Right.
So I know that you had touched on doing a blog.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, to share share your journey. So tell the people just a little bit about, what's the idea behind it and why you want to do that.
I came up with the blog during that long ride. We got to talking, and then we went and talked some more. I feel like there are people out there like me who have gone through. And so I have always been one that I keep everything on the inside. Only my very close circle, and that would probably be my sister Monica, would know everything that's going on in my head and in my body. But I decided that it's time to open up and remove some of the layers and let people really see, because there could be somebody else out there that's going through this. And my dad's phrase about this isn't necessarily for me, and it's not about me, it's about him, Christ Jesus. And so there could be somebody that's going through this and may not know what to do. But to put myself out there and show my journey, it's going to be related to lupus, how I care for myself, based on what my providers, and I have a lot of them, what we do, what I do spiritually as a believer, what I do physically when I work out, whether I do body pump or what I do commit Zumba with you or whoever, and then my food choices, my menu and how I meal prep and what I do, and maybe some recipes on what's out there, and making healthier choices. And then even those days that I'm bad and I don't want to get out of bed, I don't feel good, the medications that I take, why I take those medications, why I pray, what scriptures I read that day, all of that.
Just an overall view of
And
Paula.
that's kind of where the baby thing is right now. It's starting to form, but those are the ideas that I have planned for the blog.
I think that's wonderful, honestly, because a lot of people rely on blogs. We don't do a lot of, physical things. People go to, blog and track people and get to know you in that sense.
Yeah.
So I think that is an excellent idea. That's why I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. And I just want to seriously thank you, Paula. You, like I said before, I have got so much support for this series that I'm doing, and you agreed to do this without question, and I am so appreciative, seriously. I hope that people got a chance to know you, just to know why I love you. So I just wanted to thank you again, and we're going to make sure we plug the Sweet Fantasies, and then whenever you get that blog up, I'm going to make sure I'm the first to view it. So thank you, Paula, so much.
Thank you for having me. It was
no
great.
problem.
I enjoyed myself. Yay!
Until next time, you guys.